Trains and buses, games and songs, come join us and sing along. Transit Tots is where I'll be, the coolest place in NYC. Welcome to Transit Tots.
Hello everyone, my name is Ben and I work at the New York Transit Museum in Brooklyn, New York, where we think about all things transportation and how we move around our cities. Now before we start Transit Tots today, can we settle in together a little bit? Can we maybe take a big breath together? Shall we try that? Big breath in. And a big breath out. Big breath in. And out. Excellent. Now, can we also try wiggling a little bit together? Can we wiggle our arms? Wiggle them high up in the air and down low towards the ground. Okay, so now that we're all loose and relaxed and ready to settle in, we can start Transit Tots the same way that we start Transit Tots every week, and that is with a song. Do you guys all know our hello song? Maybe you've sung it before, but if you haven't, don't worry, I'll sing it for you and you can join in the second time. Hello, 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 and how are you? I'm happy, I hope that you are too. Hello, 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 and how are you? I'm happy, I hope that you are too. Excellent singing, everyone. Fantastic. Now, can we try something different this time? Can we try a simple dance move, for example? Let's see, if we are saying hello to someone, what do we do? Quite often we will give them a wave. Can we sing one more time, and this time we'll give each other a wave as we sing? Hello, 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 and how are you? I'm waving, I hope that you are too. Hello, 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 and how are you? I'm waving, I hope that you are too. Excellent waving, everyone. Shall we try a different move? Perhaps if you're really excited to see someone, you might jump in the air for joy. Can we try that this time? Let's try it. Hello, 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 and how are you? I'm jumping, I hope that you are too. Hello, 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 and how are you? I'm jumping, I hope that you are too. Fantastic jumping, everyone. So I'm glad you guys got to try out some dance moves with our hello song, and we'll get another chance to use our bodies to join in with the song later on. Now, I'm sure you've all noticed I have an extra special device or piece of equipment with me today. Has anyone seen something like this before? I'm sure many of you have. This is called a guitar. And as you can see, my guitar has this dark red body, this white pick guard, as we call it, and this long neck. And on the neck, if we look very closely, we can see that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different strings. And all of those strings make different sounds. And if I push my fingers down on the strings, we can get even more sounds that we can use to play as we sing a song together. And it just so happens I brought a brand new song along to show you guys. And this brand new song just happens to be all about different kinds of transportation. Now, can you listen carefully to the song and count the different types of transportation that you hear? Let's see how many we have. We can use our bodies to be commuters upon the grey concrete. We can walk or bike or ride our scooters through wind and rain and sleet. But be sure to lock your bike up when your journey is complete, because it's transit, transit, moving on the street. Transit, transit, use our feet to meet and greet. When we take the train to reach the beach, we may yell out yippee. But But what if the other side of the ocean is where we need to be? Well, thankfully the ferry goes from quay to shining quay, because it's transit, transit, sailing on the sea. Transit, transit, water connecting you and me. There's helicopters, planes, dirigibles flying through the air. Propellers, rotors, jets and helium helping them stay there. But what's the point of all these vehicles? Well, I do declare that it's transit, transit, flying through the air. Transit, transit, moving people everywhere. Your friend says in the neighbouring borough the toys are all on sale. So we must hurry and catch the subway if we're going to prevail. Of course, we're considering the longer journey. One must consider the economies of scale, because it's transit, transit, riding on the rails. Transit, transit, the trains and trolleys will blaze new trails. Okay, were you all counting with me? How many different types of transportation did we hear in that song? That was a lot of different types of transportation to think about. So if you didn't keep count, don't worry, because now we'll break it down, we'll look at each individual verse, and we'll talk about what type of transportation we're talking about in each one. Now in the very first verse, I want you to use your imaginations for a second. If you are going to go outside and visit your friend who lives next door, or if you're going to the store that is down the street, how might you get there? What would you use? If it's a short distance, maybe you would walk. Can you guys all show me your walking feet? Like this? Exactly. Good. Now if you wanted to go a little bit further, perhaps a few more blocks, maybe we could use something that has wheels or even pedals, such as a bike or a scooter. Can you guys show me what it looks like to ride a scooter? Perhaps we put our hands on the handlebars and we use one leg to push ourselves along. So maybe as we sing the first verse, all about moving around our neighbourhood, you guys can pretend that you're riding your scooters, and you can use the miniature Ben in the corner as your guide. Here we go. We can use our bodies to be commuters upon the grey concrete. We can walk or bike or ride our scooters through wind and rain and sleet. Be sure to lock your bike up when your journey is complete, because it's transit, transit, moving on the street. Transit, transit, moving on the street. Transit, transit, use your feet to meet and greet. Excellent scooting, everyone. Okay, now as we move on to our next verse, we're starting to think about a different type of transportation. What happens if we want to go from Manhattan to Staten Island, for example? We have to cross a big stretch of water. Now, what kind of vehicles go across the water? Let's see. How about a ferry? So can you guys use your imaginations and pretend that you are all ferry captains for a second? And a ferry captain, he steers the ferry using a big wheel called the ship's wheel, and it goes from side to side like this as we roll on the water. And perhaps the ferry captain will look out to see if he can find his destination or where he's going. So can you use the ship's wheel and steer out to sea as we do the second verse? Here we go. When we take the train to reach the beach, we may yell out yippee. But what if the other side of the ocean is where we need to be? Well, thankfully the ferry goes from quay to shining quay, because it's transit, transit, sailing on the sea. Transit, transit, the water connecting you and me. Excellent sea captain impression, everyone. That looked fantastic. Okay, so far we have walked and scooted around our neighbourhood on our scooters. We just took a trip on a ferry, pretending to be a sea captain. Now, if we want to go further, if we want to cross an entire ocean or visit another country on the other side of the world, what might we use? Let's see, something that can maybe go up in the air and fly through the air. Maybe it's an aeroplane. Can you guys all show me your aeroplanes? Stretch your arms out wide and zoom from side to side. Excellent. Okay, so we're going to pretend to be airplanes in our next verse, which is all about flying through the air. There's helicopters, planes, dirigibles flying through the air. With propellers, rotors, jets and helium helping them stay there. But what's the point of all these vehicles? Well, I do declare that it's transit, flying through the air. Transit, flying through the air. Transit, moving people everywhere. Fantastic plane impressions, everyone. I hope you enjoyed pretending to be an aeroplane. So we've come to our last verse of the song, which is all about moving within our city. So for example, if you want to go from Queens to Brooklyn, for example, if you live in New York City, or if you want to go from one side of the city to another, perhaps you can ride the subway. The subway is, of course, trains that go underground, and if you've ever visited the Transit Museum before, maybe you've seen our special collection of old subway cars that live on our old subway platform. So that's my favourite way to get around. Now, if we're going to pretend to be subway trains, we have to imagine that we are riding on long silver rails that go all the way to our destination. And maybe we can use our arms to pretend that we are the wheels of the motor truck, making that subway car move quickly along the rails. And again, you can watch the miniature Ben in the corner. He can show you what to do. Here we go. Your friend says in the neighbouring borough the toys are all on sale. So we must hurry and catch the subway if we're going to prevail. Of course, for considerably longer journeys, one must consider the economies of scale, because it's transit, riding on the rails. Transit, riding on the rails. Transit, the trains and trolleys will blaze new trails. Fantastic, everyone. Excellent train impression and plane impression and ferry impression and excellent scooting impression as well. Fantastic dance moves. So we've learned a little bit about different types of transportation and different ways that we can get around our city. But unfortunately, it's getting towards the end of our show for today. But let's recap what we've talked about today. Let's see, in the very beginning, after we took our big breath and we shook out our arms, we got to sing the Hello song. And we tried out some new dance moves with that. And we also learned a brand new song all about different types of transportation, where we got to ride our scooters, we got to ride on the rails, and we got to pretend to be ferry captains. So it's time for me to leave you, but I hope you had a wonderful time at Transit Tots, and we hope to see you again very soon.
Trains and buses, games and songs, come join us and sing along.